You know that feeling, right? When you're so deep into an activity that the rest of the world just disappears, time melts away, you forget to eat, you're just completely absorbed. Well, that amazing state has a name. It's called flow. And today, we're going to break down the psychology behind this incredible experience. Think about it. We are living in an age of unbelievable comfort. We have luxuries and technologies that ancient kings couldn't even dream of. And yet, there's this weird paradox, isn't there? As the psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi points out, even with all this progress, so many of us feel like our lives are just wasted, filled more with anxiety and boredom than with actual happiness. So what's the deal? It's the biggest question, really. If having all this stuff isn't the answer, then what are we missing? Well, to find the answer, we have to stop looking outside of ourselves and start looking inward. Because the root of this whole happiness paradox isn't out there in the world. It's a problem of inner disorder. Here's a tough pill to swallow. The universe does not care about you. It's not out to get you, but it's not on your team either. It's just indifferent. It has its own rules, and it really doesn't care about our plans or what we want. And this creates a constant low-level conflict inside our own heads. Our natural instinct is to try and fix this by controlling everything around us. But that is a classic trap. And there's no better example than the myth of King Midas. I mean, the guy got exactly what he wished for, the golden touch, but it destroyed him. He couldn't eat, he couldn't drink. It's a perfect story warning us that trying to master our external world isn't the real path to a good life. Okay, so this inner chaos actually has a scientific name. It's called psychic entropy. Think of it as mental static. It's that awful feeling when your mind is just buzzing with worries, anxieties, and distractions that pull you in a million different directions at once. And here's the key thing to get. This isn't some rare condition. This is the default state of the human mind when it's left to its own devices.
But there is an antidote. There is a way to fight back against this psychic entropy and create order inside our own consciousness, and that antidote is called flow. So what exactly is flow? It's that state of being completely and utterly absorbed. It's when you're so in the zone that nothing else seems to matter. You lose track of time, you forget your worries, you even kind of lose your sense of self. It's the ultimate state of ordered consciousness, where you and what you're doing become one. Now, to really understand flow, you have to know the difference between pleasure and enjoyment. They sound the same, but they're worlds apart. Pleasure is just scratching an itch, like eating when you're hungry. It feels good, sure, but it just gets you back to normal. Enjoyment, on the other hand, is about growth. It's that feeling you get when you accomplish something difficult, something that pushes your limits. It's the feeling of finishing a book that completely changes how you see the world. That's enjoyment. And that is the signature feeling of flow. Okay, this all sounds pretty amazing, right? But how do you actually do it? Well, the great news is that flow isn't some random mystical thing that just happens. There are specific conditions you can set up to make it much more likely. It really comes down to 3 key ingredients. First, you need clear goals. You have to know exactly what you're trying to do. Second, you need immediate feedback. You need to know right away whether what you're doing is working. And third, and this one is crucial, you need a perfect balance between the challenge of the task and your own skills. The activity has to be hard enough to keep you engaged, but not so hard that you just get frustrated and give up. Think about playing a sport, like tennis, against someone who's your perfect match. Every single shot pushes you to the very edge of your abilities. You're stretching, you're focused, you're completely lost in the game. That sweet spot right on the edge of your comfort zone, that's where flow lives. And here's the best part of all. This isn't just for athletes or artists or musicians. Not at all. You can find flow pretty much anywhere in any activity just by changing how you approach it. I mean, check out the story of this guy, Rico Medellin. His job was to do the same 43-second task on an assembly line almost 600 times a day. Sounds like the most boring job in the world, right? But instead of letting his mind rot, Rico turned it into a game. He treated it like his own personal Olympics, constantly trying to beat his own record. He manufactured his own challenge. And when asked about it, he said, "It's a whole lot better than watching TV." He found flow where you'd least expect it. Rico's story is amazing. But the true power of this idea becomes crystal clear when you see it in action under the most extreme, terrible circumstances imaginable. When the outside world is total chaos, the mind can still create its own order, its own freedom.
History is just full of these incredible stories. Prisoners in solitary confinement who kept their sanity by creating complex mental games. A prisoner of war in Vietnam who played a full 18-hole round of golf in his head every single day to keep his mind sharp. Or Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who famously wrote that while he was composing stories in his head in a Soviet gulag, he felt both free and happy. That right there, that's the profound power of a mind that can control its own consciousness.
So all of this leads us to the final and probably the most important takeaway. Finding flow in individual activities is amazing, but the ultimate goal, the real challenge, is to structure your entire life so that it becomes one big, meaningful experience. Just think about that for a second. Imagine if your whole life could have the same focus, the same purpose, the same deep enjoyment as one of those flow states. It's about weaving all the different parts of your life, your job, your hobbies, your relationships, into one unified, meaningful pursuit. The way to do this is by developing what's called a life theme. This is basically a unified purpose that you choose for yourself. It's your personal why. It's the compass that gives meaning to everything else you do, ordering all your smaller goals and turning your entire life into a single flow activity. In a way, it's the answer to that age-old question, what is the meaning of life? The answer is, the meaning is what you create. And so, we end right back where we started, inside our own heads. The power to create order from chaos, to find deep enjoyment, and to build a truly meaningful life, it doesn't come from the outside world. It comes from your ability to take control of your own consciousness. So the only question left to ask is the one you have to answer for yourself. What gives your life meaning?